Well, hello everyone. This is Ron, and I'm back with you with another episode of Empire Coins and Collectibles. Lots been going on. We've been going through some collections we've bought, organizing and selecting which ones we're going to be sending in to ANACS or other coin grading companies. And we do that so that we can document them and then add them to my personal collection or put them on our eBay store. But it keeps us busy. I mean, it takes time, and a lot of people don't realize that. It takes time to process coins. Coin searches yield interesting finds, and you got to go do the research and find out what they are. And then you've got to determine whether or not you're going to send them in, whether or not they have enough value to be certified, and do they fit in your collection or do they go up for sale? So we're always working through coin lots, and it is quite not tiresome, but it keeps us busy. I do enjoy it, but time flies by pretty quick. So one of the interesting things that I've got for you today is not all 1960 Lincoln cents D over D are the same. Most people will think, I have a D over D. I don't need to look at this one over here that they have for sale or they're offering for trade. But I've got to tell you, there is as much variety in the D over Ds as there are degrees in a circle, 360 degrees and in between. So there's an infinite number of ways of looking at a D over D. It's not just one and you're done. So that's something to be aware of. You may be collecting the 1960 D over D varieties, and you may want to get every one of them that points in the cardinal directions. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment. Before we go there, if you could, please like, share, and subscribe. So what I've done, I'll take this as an example. Let me change my camera view so you can get a better look at it. So what I've done is I've drawn this compass over here on this side. And then I drew a red arrow that starts at the origin and then points in the direction of where that second D, the one that's beneath the top D, is with respect to orientation of the top D. So if I were to just simply look at this title here, 1960 D over D, you may say, I've got one. But look at this one. We'll take a closer look with the microscope. This one has the second D, the D that's beneath the top D, pointing up. It's up above and to the right, or east, as I would call it, in this compass system that I've created. And then we have this one that is not to the right, but it's to the right and down, right? So it's the second D that's beneath the top D is below. It has a little bit of its structure is below the top D and then to the right, right? So that would be what? Southeast by east or southeast east? Or I should say east southeast. I'm not sure. Maybe some of you can tell me that have the military training with respect to the cardinal points and how you determine what to call something in between. And then look at this one here. Notice it also is to the east, but it's not as far down south. So we're getting the orientation of the Ds all over the place. And then here's one, if we look at the compass right here, it's just barely south of east. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the view, the camera view, and go to the coin microscope. Okay, and I should have it arranged such that it's showing the penny in focus. But before we go there, notice these coin sleeves are very old. These coins were put into their coin flips a long, long time ago. And this is an old collection I bought. But here's the one that's just, the D is going to be just south of east of the top D. So let's just take a look here. So notice, let me find my toothpick to make Miss Empire happy. Notice the D is certainly east. The D is certainly east right there of that D, but notice it's also down a bit in its orientation, right? So that's the reason why I said it was south of east. Kind of interesting, isn't it? Let's look at a different one. This one, I said, was a little further south of east than the first one. So let's take a look at it. And actually, you could say it's a little more east than the first one because that D is boldly sticking out. The bottom D is boldly sticking out east of the top D, and it is south of that top D. So it's kind of interesting. So there is this positioning in the cardinal points, and then how much of the bottom D is exposed with the top D over it. So that's two different coins. They're all labeled D over D. And if you just went with that error nomenclature, you would be missing out on a variety of different types of D over D. Let's look at another one. This one is showing a little further south of east. So we could call that south-southeast, right? So let's take a look at that D. Oh, yeah. You could clearly see this. See that D is more toward the bottom of the top D, and it's more in this direction in its orientation with respect to the top D. By the way, this coin is in pretty good condition. Yeah, it's been circulated, but overall, it's in pretty good condition. The lettering is very strong. We got some carbon spots and everything on it. But clearly, that D is showing very strongly just south of that first D, but to the east a bit. Okay, let's go to another one. Now this one, this D is oriented a little bit different. Notice I've got it pointing up just off north. So it's just east of the north cardinal point. So let's go and see if we can see it. Oh yeah. Now the reason why I said it's just east, look at the back of that bottom D. It's literally a little east of the backbone of the top D, right? And you can certainly tell that it is north of that top D. It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? There's something else sticking out here, right there. I'm not sure what that is. Could be another D. We have seen D over D over D, but I'm going to say this is a D over D with the second D, the bottom D, being just east of north, sticking out above the top D. And then this last one has a different orientation. Look, it's over in the third quadrant. It is just west of south, just west of south. So let's go take a look at it. Now, this one's a little harder to see, but clearly you can see that the tip of that bottom D is just south of that top D, and it is showing itself a little to the west of that top D. Another interesting point, although I am not sure, there seems to be a D over D inside the top D and then the top D. So if that's the case, this might be a D over D over D. Let's just take a little closer inspection of this. We'll bring it back into focus. Not sure. Certainly it is a D over D, but I think that perhaps what I was thinking was a third D is just some damage right there. Okay. All right, let's go back to the main camera and we'll do the wrap up. It's a very quick episode, but this is the point I'm trying to make to you. I have a book of D over D errors for the 1960s. I've got some in the 50s and the 20s and 30s as well. But if I get one single year with a D over D, I need to mark the orientation of where that underlying D is with respect to the top D. That opens up a whole new avenue of collecting the D over D type errors, whether it's the 1960s, the 61s, or something earlier or something later. So you too need to be on the lookout. When you document your D over D error, you put it in a coin flip and you write down the date or the year and the fact that it's a D over D. Then you need to place in there that cardinal point compass and show in red where that bottom D is lying with respect to the top D. By the way, this is true not only of D over Ds, it's also true of D over Ps, P over Ds, P over S's, any type of mint mark that is underlaying another mint mark. All right, my friends, I hope you found this interesting. You be careful out there, and please know, if you're not looking, you're not finding. And believe me, I have found a lot over the last 60 days as I've gone through collections and bought collections and gone to the coin shop. Don't thumb your nose at those little boxes of circulated coins. You'll find some very interesting errors in those boxes as well. You take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next episode. All the best.